So how's everybody doing this morning? This is Jonathan from Jon Ford Woodworks here again. Today I thought I would give my 2 cents on hand planes. Um, I am by no means a hand plane expert. I have a few of them. Most of them I have out here in front of me. The only one that's missing is my number 7 jointing plane. Lent that to a friend. It's basically a big plane for flattening boards. But I do have my super cool Veritas shooting board plane in the Veritas shooting board. I have the Nielsen 101 block plane. I have a bench dog, which is a Rockler product, shoulder plane. I think it's a 92. It's like a medium one. I'm not sure. I've got Bridge City's little mini block plane. I also have the Woodriver low-angle block plane. Probably have too many block planes, but you know. I also have the Nielsen number 4 smoothing plane and the Nielsen number 62 low-angle jack plane. So what I thought I would do is just talk about these planes. I love them all. It's not really a review video or even a how-to video. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going with this, but I thought I would just talk about them. I know sometimes when I watch videos of people talking about hand planes on YouTube, some of the technical aspects that they get into almost seems to me like it would scare away a lot of people. So I thought maybe me being a little bit more average, for lack of a better word, might resonate with some people that maybe are looking to get into hand planes but are a little unsure about which way to go. As you know, you kind of have two options. You could buy new planes, or you could buy older planes and fix them up, or you can also find them restored already. Old planes are beautiful if they're restored or have been well maintained, and they can work just as well as brand new planes, but they definitely come with a few disadvantages. Usually require a little more tuning and upkeep, and if you're thinking of buying one that needs some restoration, then you're probably going to be spending a lot of time getting that plane into proper working order. Whereas if you buy a brand new plane, especially a quality one, you pretty much can take it right out of the box. If anything, put a secondary bevel on your plane iron and get to planing. Probably, I think maybe the best way to start is, if you were going to buy your first plane, what to buy. And in that instance, move some of these other ones out of the way, and then we'll bring them back shortly. But if you had to just get one to start, in my opinion, it is the low-angle jack plane. Low-angle jack plane, like you probably heard, I think this is probably something that most people agree with. It is called the jack plane because it's, I guess, like the jack of all trades. You can kind of do a little bit of everything with it, and that's definitely true. It's easy to use. It's easy to take the iron in and out to rehone it. It's very forgiving. You can get different types of blades, whether that be, your standard 25-degree bevel iron, scraping irons, 90-degree irons, lots of different things that you can do with a low angle jack plane. Mine happens to be Nielsen's. Of all the brands I have, Nielsen is probably my favorite, followed very closely by Veritas, but I also really enjoy the little block plane I have from Bridge City. I would love to have some more of their bigger planes just because they look space age and are super cool. The Woodriver block plane that I have works great. No complaints there. The bench dog plane leaves a little bit to be desired, but it is certainly serviceable as well. Probably one of the coolest things about hand planing, in my opinion, is one, it cuts down on sanding. Two, there's just something peaceful and tranquil about the swoosh and the wispy thin shavings that you can achieve and the level of accuracy that you can get using a hand plane. They really are enjoyable to use and can really take certain woodworking to the next level. I've gotten to a point where there's not much that I make that a plane doesn't touch at some point or another in some shape, form, or fashion. And very frequently, this is the first plane that I reach for and is the one that sometimes I don't have to go anywhere else. The one I have is a low angle jack plane. I think Nielsen calls it a number 62. The numbering systems for planes get a little confusing, but this is a low angle number 62 from Nielsen. You really can't say enough good things about Nielsen products. I mean, they just, I don't know, their attention to detail and craftsmanship is really unrivaled. I mean, I think that Veritas is right there with them, but Nielsen makes a really, really beautiful plane. You pay for it as you do with Veritas, but again, the trade-off is that it comes ready to go. Like, there's no easing of edges or flattening of soles or adjusting this or doing that. Take it out the box, put a secondary bevel on your plane iron, go to planing. And just real quick, we'll make a pass with one. I've got just a piece of pine that is sort of rough, but we can very easily run it through and we get little wisps. Cool thing about low angle planes that I really like is the ease of use. As you probably know, or maybe you don't, sharp tools are important. So when you're doing a lot of hand planing, you have to be mindful to stop, put a fresh hone on your edge to keep it nice and sharp so that it will cut easily and smooth. Easier to do that with a low angle plane because you're not having to take the plane iron apart. You just take it out, give it a quick hone, put it back in, go back to work. If you're out there considering hand planes, low angle jack plane, definitely the way to go. Lovely. let's see. So the next up from that guy that I have is the number 4 Nielsen. This is a standard bevel. Well, I guess I didn't mention that on low angle planes, you know, the bevel's up. Standard angle planes, the bevel's down. But the plane iron on a standard angle plane is attached to the chip breaker. So when you want to stop to hone your plane iron, you do have to take the chip breaker off, put that back on. Takes a little more time. Not a big deal, because a number 4 smoothing plane like this will give you such a smooth surface that in a lot of cases sanding isn't even required after. You know, so if you hate sanding, think about getting into a hand plane. Again, this is Nielsen's bronze version. It also comes in a cast iron version. The bronze just looked cool, gives it a little more weight, I think. But again, just a beautiful plane that comes right out of the box ready to go. And it, again, makes beautiful, wispy, thin shavings. Whoops, out the camera. So, number 4 smoothing plane. Let's see. I guess just to round out what I have that is Nielsen, I have this little guy. This is Nielsen's 101 low angle block plane. They make several block planes. They make a really cool one that is called a rabbiting block plane. But this little guy is super small, it's super ergonomic, it's easy to hold. Block planes work really great on ingrain, or if you're looking to put some eased edges or chamfers on a workpiece. Block planes work great for stuff like that. Little work, you know, things that you're trying to do where it's easier to do with one hand. A little guy like this just makes that so easy, you know. So if I wanted to come through on this board and just sort of ease these edges, I can do that with minimal effort, no problem. And again, I get little lovely wispy shavings, and now I have a nice ease, mildly chamfered edge on that board. Really cool little guy from Nielsen. Oh, and I should also mention back to if the low angle jag plane is not the first plane you should get, I think that a low angle block plane of some sort should probably be the second. Smoother, like the number 4 I just showed you, might be another good alternative, but a good block plane would probably be a good thing to have too. So we'll moving on, sticking with block planes. I also have this little guy from Bridge City Tool Works. Size-wise, it's not much bigger or smaller than the 101 Nielsen. It's just cool. Bridge City tools are just cool. Did I really need this plane? No, but I just wanted it. But I do surprisingly find myself reaching for it a lot, again, because it is made out of aluminum, and I'm forgetting now, some stainless steel. It's super light. Super light. It's super easy to maneuver and use. the way everything fits together, I don't know if you can see it in there. It's got like this little magnet thing that kind of guides the screw that holds the iron in place. It's also got depth skids, you know, so if you're trying to plane something down to a certain level, you can do that. It's actually a really cool little versatile hand plane that, again, same deal. You know, if I want to do little detail work on a piece, this plane, again, makes beautiful little shavings, and it fits in the palm of my hand. I can even keep this in my apron or in my pocket, and it's awesome. Like I said, I hope to one day be able to get some of Bridge City's larger planes. Again, not that I need them, just because they're awesome. They look like alien technology, and I would like to have some more of them. Rounding out my block plane collection, which again, you really don't need 3, I just happen to have 3, is the Woodriver low-angle block plane. People outside of the U.S. may know Woodriver as Quang Song. I apologize if I'm messing that name up. It's a really quality plane that is rebranded for Woodcraft, I believe. But whether it's called Quang Song or Woodriver, they make really great planes and are a little more cost effective than Veritas, Bridge City, or Nielsen. And I have not done anything to this plane. When I got it and took it out the box, I put a secondary bevel on the iron, and other than that, I just went straight to using it. I've seen and heard people say that when it comes to Woodriver planes, you should ease the edges on it. I do think that they are a bit sharper than the edges on the Veritas planes and Nielsen's, but I have not had any problems with that, so I chose not to file away edges. And that kind of harkens back to some of the videos I see that I think may scare people. I know some of them scared me when, you know, people were talking about, you know, when you buy your $200, $300, $400+ hand plane and you get it home, you got to file this and scrape that and do all this stuff to it. And in my mind, I always thought, like, no, if I just spent that much money on a tool, I shouldn't have to do anything to it. It should be ready to go. And this plane certainly was. Like, I saw no need to change anything on this plane. This one is obviously definitely bigger than the other 2 I have, so that's cool. This one also has an adjustable mouth. Oh, I apologize. The Bridge City also has an adjustable mouth, but so does this one. This one also has this really cool quick release lever cap. It just kind of pops up, pops down. I sort of like that, and then I sometimes sort of don't. I've never really been able to find the sweet spot of it being tight enough to where I can still maneuver the blade, but yet it holds it in place. And so what I find is that I kind of have to hold it, flip it up, make my adjustments, close it down. But that's just a personal thing. Some people, I know they love the flip up action, and I do too. I just find that sometimes it messes me up, or I have to fiddle with it a little more to get it exactly set the way I like. But it's a lovely hand plane. It's got good weight, but it's still small enough to fit in the palm of your hand, but big enough to where you could, in theory, use it on a shooting board if you really wanted to. It's wide enough that you could go straight across the top of a board if you wanted to, but it also has that same ability to help you do that fine detail work that you look to do with a block plane. So yeah, Woodriver from Woodcraft is also a really cool option for hand planes, and they're a little less expensive than the Bridge Cities and the Lee Nielsens and the Veritases out there. Next up is this little guy. And it is a shoulder plane, which is really good for cleaning out rabbits or rebates, whichever way you like to call it. You can also take the top off, and it works sort of as a chisel plane. This one happens to be from Rockler, and their brand is what is it? Bench Dog. It falls under that category of a tool that does not come to you out of the box really ready to go. Not in the sense of it being perfect. Don't know if this will show up on camera or not, but if you can see, I have tried to flatten the sole of it, which was not flat. You can kind of see up here where it's starting to flatten, and in the back, which indicates that this was low, and all of this is high. And after many hours of rubbing this thing back and forth on a granite stone plate with an abrasive on it, I gave up. But it does still work for what I use it for, which is not much. So again, as much as I love Rockler and most of their products, I really have not been a fan of this Bench Dog plane, and I would not buy or recommend Bench Dog planes from Rockler. They are inexpensive, so if you don't mind spending the time, I mean, it's not a POS. It can be made to work really well, and this one actually does the job fine in the state it's in. Again, though, if you want it to be perfect, you're going to have to put a lot of time in on, flattening it, getting the bevel right. Like this one, the bevel was not at a true 25 degrees. It was skewed, so I had to fix that. Lots of little things that I had to fix myself on this. Which again, in my opinion, when you buy a brand new tool out of the box, it should, by and large, be ready to go and not require lots of work on your part. But I digress. Last but not least, let me see if I can adjust this a little bit, just so y'all can get a look here. Okay, so this is the Veritas shooting board plane, which I am trying to get into the camera. It is purpose built to be used with a shooting board. You do not have to get the Veritas shooting board that I happen to have, but the shooting board itself is also really cool. And once you get into using a shooting board, you'll never go back. I don't know if the edge of this board will show up. As you can see, it is not square and it is pretty squirrely. But if I plop that thing right up against the fence, start. And voila, I now have a squared, no and that the finish is almost perfect. I mean, I could hit it a few more times with the shooting board and no sanding would be required. All right, so a little more on this particular plane. Again, it is really only designed to be used on a shooting board. I mean, it's a shooting plane. You can kind of tell what makes it different. It has one face that is parallel to the bottom. The bottom runs on the track of your shooting board, and then of course the side here is where it cuts. Nielsen makes beautiful planes, and they really do a lot of innovative stuff with their planes as well. This one has an adjustable mouth. It also has these little set screws in it so that you can set it to where when you take the iron out, those screws kind of guide it right back into the same place. So it makes it a lot easier to take the iron out, hone it, put it right back in, and get back to work. The handle on it will also, you can loosen it up and you can kind of adjust the handle back and forth to find that comfortable position for you. And it also comes in a right or left-handed model. I am actually left-handed, but had been shooting for so long using a homemade shooting board and my low-angle jag plane, doing it right-handed. So when I finally got this, I said, you know what, no sense switching now. I went with the right-handed version. When I got it, I also decided to go on ahead and just get this Veritas shooting board, which is really not necessary. You can make your own really easy, and I'll show y'all my old one here in just a second. I just thought theirs was cool, so when I bought the plane, I said, hey, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself, and I bought their shooting board as well. One of the really cool things about it is that it comes with the track. It's got an adjustment guide here so that you can, you know, put whatever plane you may want to use in it and set it up to where there's no movement back and forth. And it also has this little guy which allows you to not only shoot at 90 degrees, but you can change it to any angle you want. It's got detents. It's super accurate. So, you know, if you want to shoot at 45 or whatever angle you want, you can change this and you can shoot at different angles, which is really cool. But I do think it's also an option to, like that Veritas will sell you this little component as well as the track, and then you could in theory build the rest of it yourself. But again, cannot speak highly enough about their plane and the quality and craftsmanship of both the plane and this shooting board. But again, some people inevitably are going to say, well, why would you buy a shooting board when you can make your own? And that is a good question, and it is very true. You don't have to. Before I had that, I used one that I made myself. And shooting boards, really, you know, let me readjust. Sorry about that. You know, shooting boards, basically you need something for the plane to ride on, something for your workpiece to sit on, a 90-degree edge, and then a backer to put your workpiece up against. So much the same way as the one from Veritas, I would just butt that up, and then I could use my number 62 low angle plane, and much just the same way I can shoot this board like that. So shooting boards much easier to make than they look. I mean, this one is just some piece of plywood, a piece of MDF, a piece of oak that is friction fit onto another piece of oak, and that friction fit allows you to take this off, so as you start to wear into it, you can readjust it, and then you just pop it back on. Either way you go, I'm not in the camera. All right, sorry about that. I messed the camera up. If y'all had noticed, I am new to making videos, so pardon me. That's all I got. Like I said, there wasn't really any rhyme or reason. A friend of mine asked me about my hand planes the other day. Make a video about them. So any questions that anybody might have about any of the hand planes that I have, or anything pertaining to hand planes, I'd love to talk about it or answer them, or go in more depth about any of the planes that I have. As I think I'm supposed to say, please like, subscribe. I'm new to YouTube, so the more support the better, and I appreciate y'all taking the time to watch this video. Again, Jonathan from Jon Ford Woodworks. Thanks for watching, and everybody stay safe and have a great weekend. Bye.